Okay, so to continue our coverage over Mark Waid's Daredevil, we actually pick up with Volume 6. Now, the problem I have with Volume 6, not really a problem, but it's really more the idea that it's a filler volume, because the first 5 volumes went together to tell one overarching storyline. And once you have that overarching storyline be told and wrapped up, Volume 6 more of like, okay, here's some filler storylines until we get into the next big storyline that Mark wants to do with Daredevil. And so it does continue on some things he did in the first 5 volumes, but at the same time, these next 2 stories are really, again, just filler to kind of give us some time, to calm down after the big bullseye return in the last volume. And so as we dive into Volume 6, we do get reminded about the idea that Foggy Nelson has cancer. That was a big thing in Volume 5, and Matt and Foggy being able to rebuild their friendship, but also Matt being there for Foggy as he goes through the actual process of trying to fight against the cancer. Now the thing is, for Matt, it's still a very difficult thing to see his friend go through the cancer. But also we have to realize with Matt Powers being more the idea that he has enhanced senses, sometimes the smell or the sounds or anything else going on in the hospital does bother one of his other senses. But he tries his best to fight through it so that he is able to be there for Foggy. Now, when it comes to this story arc right here, this is really the only time we do see Foggy because, again, this was a filler volume. And you see what I mean as we go through this entire story arc, because then you have Matt actually go back to his office. And as soon as Matt arrives back at the office, one of his assistants tells him that he has a visitor in his office. Now, as soon as Matt walks in, he is confronted by a guy he has not seen in many years, to the point where Matt forgot who this guy is. But once the guy tells him his name, which by the way, it is Nate Hackett, Matt freaks out. And the reason why? Because this was the guy who used to bully Matt when they were kids, before he had his accident, before Matt went blind. And so before Matt was blinded by that accident, he had this kid right here who was technically bullying him every single day in and day out. Now, when it comes to Nate, he's very happy about the idea of seeing Matt. He's all like, Matt, it's me, Nate, the guy who used to bully you. But as soon as Nate says his name, Matt freaks out. He's all like, dude, I hated you for many years when we were kids. Why in the world are you here now in my office thinking and acting like everything is okay? Except you have Nate tell Matt that technically the reason why he did bully Matt because Matt was being cocky at school. Because with Matt's father, Jack Murdoch, being this great boxer, Matt would go to school and basically say all these crazy things about his father, Jack. But on top of that, because Jack made sure that Matt studied hard, very hard, Matt looked at his peers as technically a bunch of nobodies. Because Matt was very smart, because his dad made him study day in and day out, to the point where it was already decided that Matt was going to be a lawyer. And so when he went to school, he would talk in a way where like he was better than everybody else. His dad was a famous boxer. He was super smart. He's going to be a great lawyer. And so when it came to Nate and some other bullies, they got tired of Matt just looking down on everybody at the school. And so that is why you had Nate and other kids begin to bully Matt. Now, this is really more of Mark saying that, listen, it was told to us many times in the earlier origin stories of Matt Murdock that he was bullied before he became the blinded kid. But the thing is though, now we know why he was typically bullied, because he was bullying other people in a way at the school. And so it's kind of Mark saying like, you didn't have the full picture when it came to Matt in the early days, but now you do. But you have Nate tell Matt that Even though both characters used to bully each other in different kinds of ways, when it came to the rest of the students at the school, Nate looked like the bully and Matt looked like the innocent people, even though Matt was talking down to everybody at the school. And so right after Matt got his accident, which of course blinded him, but also gave him enhanced senses, well, everybody at the school felt bad for Matt. But when they looked at Nate, the only thing they remembered was Nate was a bully. He was the guy who used to bully the blind kid before he became the blind kid. And so because of that, a lot of different students at the school began to push Nate away to the point where Nate was technically on his own at school. Now that kind of led him down a dark path where he did do different kind of things that were not technically good. But the thing is, he also joined a group known as Sons of the Serpent. Now, Sons of the Serpent were technically a group of people that were very racist, but they were also, the Sons of Serpent was actually created by Stan Lee. I want to say back in like 1966. Either way, when it comes to the Sons of Serpent, their main goal was to commit a bunch of hate crimes across America as a way to kind of divide America, to kind of get rid of minorities in America. Now, the Avengers and other kinds of superheroes have dealt with the Sons of Serpent over the years. Now, it's not like they're one of the big time groups in Marvel comics that cause a lot of problems for the world. It's just one of those many groups out there that just pops up here and there, and they get shut down very quickly by the heroes of the world. Either way, when it comes to Nate, he had joined that group, but not because he was a racist, because he was alone. He wanted to be part of something in his life. And so unfortunately, he found that group. Now, when he did join that group, he didn't do anything at all for that particular group. The only thing he did was drink and other activities that are more on the idea of partying. And so because of that, he quickly left the group once he realized what kind of group he joined. But the problem was, though, when he tried to get his life back on track, some cops came and arrested him, which made him lose his job. Now, the reason why he got arrested is because he used to belong to, or not belong to them, but he used to be part of the Sons of Serpent. Now, even though he never did commit a crime while working alongside with the Sons of Serpent, but just the idea of him being part of that organization, the cops said you have to be arrested, be put on trial for what you did with them, even though it was just drinking and other kind of activities you do at parties. But that is why Nate is there for, because Nate knows two things about Matt Murdock. One, Matt Murdock is a great lawyer, but two, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. Because remember, when it comes to Matt Murdock, the entire world knows that he is Daredevil thanks to Brian Michael Bennett's run on the character. And when the entire world found out that Matt was Daredevil, it led to entire different problems happening to Matt left and right. But the thing is, when it came to Mark Waid's run on Daredevil, he's kind of like, listen, if the entire world knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, that means he can't be a lawyer in New York, because every single time he goes into a courtroom, they bring that up. They're like, hey, you cannot trust this man right here, this lawyer for this client, because this dude right here is a vigilante in the nighttime or the daytime, whenever. Either way, with him being Daredevil, a lot of times those cases get thrown out of the courtroom. And so unfortunately, Matt ends up losing when it comes to him trying to help his clients win their cases. And so what he has been doing in Mark Waid's run is more saying, listen, I cannot be there for you as a lawyer, but I can tell you what to say in that courtroom as a way to represent yourself, and hopefully you're able to win those cases by yourself without the idea of me being your lawyer. And so it's Matt telling Nate, I'll tell you what to say. If you say these things, for sure you'll be able to win your case and then get out free of charge. And so the last few pages of this chapter is really more of Matt watching Nate trying to win his case in court. But here's the thing though, because while you have Matt watching Nate and seeing Nate do a good job in some areas, Matt realized that somebody's pulse is beginning to pick up, because remember, when it comes to Matt, he has basically enhanced senses, and now he is technically a lie detector. He is able to figure out if somebody is lying or telling the truth by their heartbeat. But on top of that, sometimes he's also able to figure out if somebody's having a heart attack. But the thing is, when it comes to Matt Murdock, he realized that somebody in the courtroom is beginning to freak out. But the question is right now, who? Now, before Matt is able to figure out who it is, well, that is the moment you have the judge pull a gun out of nowhere and shoot Nate right in the chest. Now, Matt runs over to make sure that Nate is okay, but unfortunately, behind Matt, the police officer also pulls out a gun and about to shoot Matt as well. Now, as we dive into the second chapter, we do pick up with Matt being able to defend himself against the bailiff who was working in the courtroom. Now, the thing is though, right after Matt is able to take the guy down, Matt realized the judge is not a judge. The judge is most likely working for somebody who was brought here to kill off Nate. And so before Matt is able to interrogate this guy, well, that is the moment where you do have a bunch of police officers rush into the actual courtroom to shut everything down. And so that is the moment where you have the judge lie and say the real shooter, which of course is the fake shooter, got away and ran down the hall that way. And so now it's the judge basically making sure that Matt looks like a crazy man, but on top of that, with Nate being shot, the judge is hoping that enough time will pass by before the paramedics are able to get here that Nate will actually die from his wound. Now, that is the moment where you have Matt ask the police officers if he is able to go somewhere else to wash the blood off his clothes that came from Nate. Now, while you have Matt and the bailiff go into the other room, well, that is the moment you have Matt begin to question the bailiff to figure out what in the world is going on. And that is the moment we kind of find out the judge, the bailiff, and most likely other people who are currently right now in the building are all part of the Sons of Serpent, and they all came here for one particular reason, and that would be Nate. But here's the problem though, because now Matt has to use his radar as a way to figure out which person he can actually trust, because it's not like the entire staff or everyone in the building is working for the Sons of Serpent. There has to be a select few people who are not working for them that could help Matt get out of here with Nate and then get Nate some kind of medical help as well. And so he changed into his Daredevil outfit. Now, luckily for Matt, you do have a police officer and also a paramedic walk into the courtroom to get Nate. And Matt is able to figure out that those two people right there are not part of the Sons of Serpent, because their goal is to basically help out Nate. Now, the thing is, while they were distracted, another officer, but of course this officer belongs to the Son of Serpents, were trying to suffocate Nate to hopefully kill him off. But luckily Matt comes back into the courtroom as Daredevil, takes out the guy and tells the police officer and also tells paramedic, you have to be very careful because different people in this building are currently part of the Sons of Serpent. They all came here to take out this guy right here. Now, here comes the other problem, because you do have this officer try to call out for help, but unfortunately their comms are jammed. And so now, with the entire building being on lockdown, because the idea there's a shooter in the building, which honestly there's not one, unfortunately nobody can leave and nobody can go in either. And so it's up to Matt Murdock to take down every single member of the Sons of Serpent as a way to end the lockdown, but to also get Nate out of there. And so the rest of the book is really more of Matt Murdock going out of his way and trying to get Nate, but also the paramedic and the good cop that arrived to help Nate out of the building. But the problem is, everybody else in the building, they are members of the Sons of Serpent. Now, here is something else to mention, because Matt realized the entire thing was technically faked. The whole entire idea of Nate being arrested, having a court date, coming to courthouse to basically try to win his case was all fake because the Sons of Serpent wanted to know if he remembered anything at all. And if he did, what did he remember? Could it be anything valuable for someone else to know who could possibly try to hurt the Sons of Serpent organization? And so that is why I did all of this, to kind of figure out what he knew. But at the same time, if he did knew too much, they were going to kill him off. And so with that being said, Matt realized, one, he has to go ahead and shut down the entire organization in this building, but two, get Nate out of there. But once he is able to achieve both those goals right there, his next goal to figure out if there are any more members of Sons of Serpent in the city who he needs to take down. And so the book really ends on the note where you have Matt being able to get Nate and the other two good people out of the building. But once he does that, he does tell Nate, listen, I'm no longer going to help you win your case because there is no case. Because the Sons of Serpent faked the whole entire thing as a way to get to you. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go after the few members who could be left in the city who are still part of the Sons of Serpent, and I'm going to clean house. Meaning that if there's any other Sons of Serpent in the city who are a racist group trying to do horrible things in New York or Hell's Kitchen, Matt will go out of his way to make sure they get the heck out of there. And so with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see you next time. Later.